I'm Trish.
And I'm Brandy.
And you're listening to episode 17 of
Connected Conversations. This is your go-to space where international teachers, leaders, and parents like us get together for real talk, real tips, and sharing tools to thrive abroad in the international schools world.
Between us, Brandy and I have been doing this international teaching gig for nearly 40 years across 4 continents and in 8 countries, and soon to be more.
Yay.
Yeah, and working with more types of professional, social, and foreign communities than we can count.
And in our last episodes, we talked about what it means to find community while living abroad and why it can take time, intention, and a little bit of courage.
Yeah, today we're taking that conversation one step further and thinking about what happens when you leave that community behind. Have to rebuild it all over again.
Yep. Our guest today, Jennifer, knows that story very well. She's lived across continents, moved between cultures, and experienced firsthand the challenges of creating and recreating belonging.
Yeah, from international classrooms to raising a family and now navigating life back in the States, her story is one that will leave many global educators and families connected.
Today's episode is part of our Insider Voices series, where we share real stories from international educators, leaders, and parents living abroad and working around the world.
And Jennifer has done just that. Growing up in Hong Kong and Japan before moving to the US for university, and then eventually finding her way to Prague, where she taught in an international elementary school and raised 2 children.
After years of living abroad, she and her family made the move back to the U.S., a transition that brought new opportunities, but also the unexpected challenge of rebuilding connection and belonging.
Yeah, in this conversation, Jennifer opens up about the contrast between the tight-knit communities of international schools and the slower, sometimes lonelier process of finding connection back home.
She shares what it's been like to rediscover who she is outside of expat life and how she's learning to create community again, one small step at a time.
Whether you've recently returned home or are just curious about what life after being abroad looks like, then this conversation is for you. Are you ready? Let's
get connected. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for joining us on Connected Conversations. It's so nice to see you again. Before we begin, I would like to ask if you could introduce yourself and maybe share a little bit about your very unique international background.
Yeah, sure. Good morning or good afternoon, whatever, wherever we are.
For you.
Morning, afternoon.
Yeah, across the pond. So my name is Jennifer. I am American. I was born in the U.S. on the East Coast. And when I was in first grade, I moved overseas and I moved to Hong Kong. I went to the international school there for 4 years. And then I moved to Tokyo, Japan. And I went to the American school in Japan for 8 years. So I did first through 12th grade abroad. And then, yeah, amazing. But definitely didn't realize how amazing it was because it was just my normal life, right? And then my family actually moved to Amsterdam after I graduated from high school. And I came back to the U.S. And I went to a small school outside of Boston. And then, went to college. After college, moved to Boston, met my husband, and we had this competition. I don't even know where it really stemmed from, but he moved around a lot growing up, but just up and down the East Coast, and he studied abroad and enjoyed it. I didn't study abroad because I felt like I already had my abroad experience. So I studied in DC for a semester, thinking that was like my study abroad experience.
It's its own world there.
Yeah. But definitely not as adventurous as those who went to Italy and Spain for a semester, but it was fun. But we got married and then we decided we wanted to move overseas. So it was a bit of a competition on who could get a job first. And I was working in finance and the idea of moving to India was being floated because we were opening up an office there. So I was like, that sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. And I had been to India for vacation as a high schooler with my family, but he was a little bit more hesitant. He wouldn't really have been able to do much there. It was a small city in in India. Yeah. Anyway,
That
so
exists? I didn't realize.
yeah, well, I guess it's huge, but it was like 8 hours from Mumbai. It was
Yeah.
like very
Mhm.
remote.
Mhm.
So he studied abroad in Prague, and he has Czech heritage, like a great grandfather.
Mhm.
So far removed that we're not entitled to any citizenship or anything, but
Dang it.
still enough that he feels the
pull.
pride. Yeah, the pull. So he ended up getting a job, and we moved to Prague about 8 months after we got married. We moved there in August 2017. And yeah, then we settled in, and, we thought it would just be a year or two. And then it was 7.5 years later and 2 kids later. And we had an amazing time, made wonderful connections, which we're going to talk about today, and made wonderful friends. And about a year and a half ago, we moved back to the US. And we moved back to the US, but we moved to the West Coast. So we're like grappling with this, like, we're home, but this doesn't feel like home for so many reasons.
Yeah.
One being we're on the
Opposite
wrong
side of home.
of the country.
Yeah.
All of our families on the East Coast.
Right.
And yeah, so it's been definitely reverse culture shock coming back.
I can imagine. So when you first moved abroad as an adult for work, did you have any expectations around maybe friendship and community? You moved as a married couple, so that puts a
Yes.
little bit of difference to it there too. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, I didn't think it was going to be as hard. I
Mm.
didn't, I knew sense of community is different in the international expat world. But when I had moved overseas or moved around, it was always for school. So it's much easier most of the time to find your community and make friends that way. And then to move over, and I didn't have a job yet, but he had a job. So he was already starting to create his sense of community. And I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So you were the trailing spouse at that point.
Yes.
Like that's the term.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I watched a lot of Grace and Frankie the first month we were there. Watched
Great
the
job.
whole series.
Yeah. Oh,
How long before you transitioned into a working spouse? Like then?
So we moved there in August, and then I started working in October.
Okay.
So it wasn't that long.
Mhm.
And I went home for 2 weeks in between because I was just like,
Oh,
Yeah.
when you came to Prague, was there a moment for you where you felt like, yes, I belong here?
Mm.
Or reciprocally, like, was there a moment where you felt, I don't belong here?
yes and no. I wouldn't say there was like a big aha moment for either. But, when I lived in Asia, I felt it was very obvious that I was a foreigner. And in the Czech Republic, I felt like an outsider. And I was okay with that. Like, I've been an outsider before, but I didn't always look like an outsider. And that was like kind
Yeah.
of an interesting thing to overcome.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then I would say, no, I don't know. It just kind of
Mhm.
happened. You meet people and you hang out with people that maybe in
Yep.
other situations you wouldn't be friends with, but you're like their company, and maybe maybe they'll help me meet other people, and you just kind of
Connect.
slowly grow. Yeah.
Yeah. When you came to Prague, you said you didn't have a job, but then after a month or two, you found one. And that's where you and I met, right? At our
Yes.
school.
Mhm.
When you were a part of the school community, did you feel like, now I have my group,
Mm.
Yes. Yes, definitely. I would say, but even the first year, it was still a bit harder because I came in October,
Mhm.
and I think I was the only new person that year.
Wow.
So everyone had their established groups, their inside jokes.
The people they sat with at the lunch table.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, everyone was very nice, and
Yes.
but I would say it was my second year
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that
You
I
grew.
really I had friendships out of it, as opposed to just
Mhm. Yeah.
what's the word, like
Acquaintances and just like
acquaintances. Yeah,
people who help.
colleague. Yeah.
Colleagues. Okay. So like, how did like your idea of community start to shift once you'd been here for a few years? I know you said the second year of teaching, you were finding your community, but was there maybe like a couples community? You joined a dance class. Was there something that you guys did maybe outside of school to find a different community?
Yeah, so I joined the International Women's Association of Prague. I joined that IWOP. I joined Women Ed Czech. I tried to put myself out there, and I signed up for book clubs at, was it the Globe, right?
Yep. The
Yeah,
Globe.
yeah. It's been a while. And I was always keeping track of like what's going on in Prague this weekend and what we could do to get involved. Um,
Were you keeping track of those things like through social media, or were you just like straight up Googling what's happening in Prague, on Google?
yeah.
You brought out
Through
your typing
social media.
fingers. I saw there too.
The internet, yeah. No, through social media. And it's funny actually that you say that, because I reactivated Facebook when I moved overseas, because
Okay.
I don't know if it's still the case, but at the time, Facebook was really used in Prague for events. And you
It
could
is here
see like,
still.
Still is.
Yep.
there's a beer, it's always about beer, right? In Prague,
Yeah.
but there's like a different beer event in Rio
Mhm.
Grande Sadi, and you could see what was going on and see
Mhm.
you were interested and all that. So I think also just living in a city where there's so much going on, like Prague, you're not sitting at home. I mean, you can sit at home, but there's lots of opportunity to get out and meet people and socialize.
Yep.
Right.
And so you had been here a few years, and then you mentioned you had children, like becoming a
Yes.
mom. You had them here in the Czech Republic,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
So
I
two
did.
Americans having children in the Czech Republic. Usually, Brandy was with a Czech and had, and I was with a
Yes.
Czech, but now two people, both being expats, having their children abroad. Like, did motherhood and that way of finding community change for you also? How did-
Yeah, it did, but I think also it was a bit unique in that, well, everyone's story is unique, but
Mhm.
I had Charlie during COVID, so that like added another layer.
Yeah.
It made some things harder because our family couldn't come out and visit, but it also made things a bit easier because my husband was home, working from home, and I had that support. Also, something that was really unique about that is in the Czech Republic, they were very strict with COVID restrictions and socializing and all of that. So our friends, I should back up and say that I didn't have any pregnant friends when I was pregnant until the very end. So because COVID forced us all to, slow down and not go out, we were able to keep up our social life because we had these pod of friends, and on a normal weekend, they probably would have been going out to party,
Yep.
but they couldn't. So we were having dinner parties, and we were able
Nice.
to bring our son, and he would
Mhm.
sleep, in the
Mhm.
stroller. And so I think that I didn't have that total feeling of isolation like some moms do, or losing their community or trying to find their community, because thanks to COVID, it stayed.
Yeah.
But then I was a part of Women Ed Czech, and I was introduced to two other teacher moms or teachers that were pregnant, and we were both, so there was three of us, and we were all due a week apart.
Oh, that's
And we
nice.
all happened to live in the same neighborhood. And so that was amazing.
Wow.
So we were all due in September, and we met in June after we all got out of work for the summer, done teaching. So we had the summer to get to know each other and make those connections. And that was really, really nice.
Would you say that that connection was your main mom tribe that you had found, or did you find other mom friends in some other way? And maybe not even just with your first child, but your second child even.
Yeah. So I think, part of the expat life is that your community is always changing. People are coming and going, and that's the beauty of it, but also the really hard part of it. So I had I really just had these two moms for my son's birth and early motherhood journey.
Yeah.
And then because you go to the playground and you're like, oh, you speak English? Like, where are you from? And you end up meeting someone else. That's how I met a lot of people.
Yeah.
I ended up meeting a really great group of women that all had children around the same age as my son and were pregnant or had just given birth to their second babies. And so I feel like I had like two stages, two different points. Yeah.
And was there a time in particular that the mom tribe really showed up for you?
Yeah. Well, Brandy.
Oh, were you in her mom tribe?
Not the one she
definitely.
just mentioned.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, like I was saying, there's lots of evolution.
Yep.
Like, when you're there for 7.5 years, people come and go out of your life. And Brandy, I didn't meet you until
Really was
probably halfway through.
Yeah.
My time there. And we ended up working together, as Brandy said. And we became friends. And Brandy's just so real, as you know. I mean, I could go on and on about, we could have a whole podcast about how wonderful Brandy is.
We'll have a Brandy episode soon. Don't worry.
But I went back to work after a year, which is not typical in the Czech Republic, right? You get up to 3 years. You can take however long you want. So I took a year. And I think part of that was because I was missing my community so much with COVID. And it was such a wild year. And Brandy had joined the school while I was on maternity leave. And she stepped into my teaching role. And then when I came back, we became really good friends. And I think, Brandy being honest about what it's like going back to work and having a child and not sugarcoating things, just being real. Because, I mean,
it's what we keep saying this episode is about real conversations, real stories, like real connections. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest. It's fun and dreamy some days, but sometimes it's really lonely. It is out here for sure.
It is. And being a parent is just hard.
Its own thing.
And finding someone that you click with too,
Definitely. I actually mentioned that in our episode about community, about meeting a mom that I just didn't click with. Yeah. So, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that a time that my mom tribe showed up for me, Brandy called Brandy in the middle of the night when I went into labor with my second child so that she could come over and watch my son so we could go to the hospital.
That's a huge showing up for someone. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then she went to work the next day or like a few hours later. So she like really showed up for me. And I think also, when you move overseas or when you move to a new place, like shifting your perspective of what your community has to be. Maybe your community has been your family that lives nearby, you might, or your friends that you've been with since you were little. And living overseas and being separated from your friends and family, your community overseas becomes your family.
Yeah.
I mean, you celebrate holidays together, you celebrate birthdays together. They really are, they're your family.
For sure.
So true.
There have been a Thanksgiving or two between us, haven't there?
Yeah.
And with your Czech family too. I know what you mean. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, it's like such a beautiful sentiment. I don't want to ask the next question, but I am curious. On the flip side, have you had seasons where you felt isolated as a mom overseas? And if so, how did you navigate that?
I don't think I had. I mean, parts of motherhood are isolating. Parts of living overseas are isolating. I mean, not having our family be able to come out when Charlie was born. But because it was COVID and nothing was really going on, I did spend a lot of time in the US. A few months after he was born, I was like, I just want my mom.
Yeah.
And I went back to the US for 2 months and my husband came back and forth. And I think that was hard.
Yeah. I can imagine.
For sure. I mean, that was kind of my story. When I was pregnant with my son, I spent a week in the hospital around month 6. and I was in a Czech hospital, nobody speaking English to me. And I was like, I felt exactly what you were saying. I was like, I just want my mom because I didn't know what was going on, like what was. So I did move back to have him in the States. So kudos to the two of you for navigating the tech system. That's a thing of its own, and it's that, but it's also doable. I have worked in so many countries where, the Czech, the South Korean healthcare system is amazing. The Thai healthcare system is amazing. In Dubai, like so many people have kids, like everybody are having babies all around the world. So it's just, and we can navigate it too.
Yeah.
So you can do this job abroad still. So,
Yes.
So can I ask you, how do you and your husband approach creating a sense of home for your kids, especially when you were in Prague and you knew that home was going to change because you were going to be moving to the States?
Yeah. We didn't really have an end date for Prague. Like we thought it was going to be 2 or 3 years, and then it was 7.5. And I always add that little half.
It's sometimes the half that just pushes it over.
Exactly. Yeah. So close to 8. But, I moved around a decent amount. He moved around a decent amount. So, our idea of home has never been the house. Neither of us had our forever home growing up. We don't go home to the homes that we grew up in. And so I think, home is just where we are. And even in Prague in those 7 years, we lived in 4 different flats. My son lived in 2, or 3 actually. And so it's just kind of wherever your toys are, wherever your stuff is, wherever you are. Like I don't feel this attachment to what a home has to be. Or like,
the people that you're with.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I understand it right, you've made 2 big transitions back to the States, like one to do university and then one now with your family, with your young family. Like what were those transitions like? Was it different between the 2, or what were some noticeable differences?
Yeah, I think, when I came back to the US for college, I went to a small school outside of Boston. And most people were from the New England area, and they all, not that they knew each other, but there was a lot of like, oh, you play hockey? Like, do you know this person? Because they used to, whatever. Like, there was just kind of like, already they had things in common. And that was really hard because I didn't know how to like play that game, because I don't know, I just didn't really know how to fit in and what I had in common. And not that I blame any of them for this, but they also like, they didn't care. They'd be like, oh, where are you from? I'd be like, Japan. And they're like, oh, you're not from Connecticut? Like, I don't know what to talk to you about then. And they, and of course they were 18, we were 18. So it's not like they were equipped to ask, really intentional questions, but it would just be like, oh, that's cool. Anyway, So, but you always end up in these situations where you end up making community, right? So I had signed up to be in an all freshman dorm that was like a little secluded. So I made amazing friends just, in that building, and I made amazing friends that I'm still in touch with.
Cool.
But then when I moved overseas, I think it was a little more natural to make community there, maybe because I was a little bit older and wiser, but I think I feel this pull, and I think it's easier to have a conversation with someone who's from a totally different country and you don't have anything in common with than
you
the
mean
person.
Like when you moved to Prague from the States?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Love that. I love that it's easier to talk to people who,
because you're like plugged into that international world. Yeah. And so then can we carry it one step further? How about transitioning now back to the States for the second time? How does that compare?
Yeah, it's been a transition. It really has. And on a few levels, because life is always multi-level, but we moved back with like a 5-week turnaround. My husband got hired and we moved back 5 weeks later.
It was really 5 weeks.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
And as Brandy knows, a week and a half of that, my daughter was in the hospital. She was fine. She's fine. But like just with everything going on. So it was really fast. And when we moved back, my daughter was 9 months. So we were still navigating becoming parents of 2. That was a really hard transition. And then moving back to the US, but moving to the West Coast. And it was, I don't even know. I'm still processing it.
There are layers to your transition cake. We can see.
Yeah.
Wow. What were some of the things you struggled a bit with that, but like what were some of the things you did to try to rebuild community that second time?
Yeah. So this time I really had to lean on my kids to help me build my community.
Yeah.
Especially because I was home with them. So
Mm-hmm.
it was going to the playground. It was story time at the library. It was, open play, the children's museum, like all these children things, which has been the really nice part about moving back, that we have access to all of this now. I know that it exists in Prague, but the language barrier sometimes kept us out from things. Signing my son up for soccer. And I think in a lot of the things we've done, it's been, I'm doing this for you, but I'm also doing this for me. Like I want to make friends. I want to make friends with the moms on the soccer team. Or
You sure you don't like football anymore?
Yeah.
Funny. I love it.
But then that also, it makes it a lot harder because you're, having a conversation when you're a new mom. You have like the new mom brain and it's harder to keep a conversation, but for the most part, no one's interrupting you when you're trying to have the conversation. And then when you try and make friends with kids that are a bit older, that are going in different directions from each other on the playground, or you hit it off with the mom and the kids don't hit it off. It's just, in some ways it's easier to use your kids as a tool to build your community. And in some ways it's like, you're ruining this for me. Like, I really like this mom. And kids are kids, they have the meltdown. And
But the right mom friends, they push past those like embarrassing moments when your kid's doing God knows what.
Yes.
Did you have any, especially in the second move as an adult, as a mom, did you have any reverse culture shock moments?
Yes, definitely. I feel like the whole thing has been a reverse culture shock, and really, trying to figure out who I am, because when I was abroad, I was American, and now I'm here and I don't feel American. I feel like I don't fit that. I didn't grow up here. I'm just trying to navigate that. I don't even have the words really to to talk through it, but it's been, we lived in a major city. We didn't have a car. We came here, we had to buy 2 cars, and we are living in a city, but it's a very small city. And you can always find parking downtown, which to me means like, this isn't a real city.
This is a really good point. Like, that's what I'm going to judge cities on from now on, the amount of parking.
Yeah. Do I have to pay $40 to park here? Like, that's a city. And then being on, as I said, the West Coast, when my husband interviewed for the job, they obviously hired him. They liked him, but they were like, you're very East Coast. And we're like, is that a thing? And it is. It is a thing.
Wow. I'm from the Midwest. I don't know.
You're just the in-between.
I'm neutral. I'm Switzerland.
I think West Coast people, are notoriously very hippie-ish, right? Like, is that the brand that we've created?
No stereotype. They're different.
They're okay.
We can do that offline.
Love it. Love it. So after years of living internationally and now going to home, which you don't necessarily identify as that, like, how has your sense of identity shifted then? Like, as a mom, as a partner, as your own person, is there something you can feel that's different about it all? It's a deep question.
It is.
Yeah.
I think we're we're always evolving, right? And that sense of identity is always shifting. I don't know. I mean,
Okay. Hopefully our listeners will think about that for themselves too. Cause I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily answer that. Cause what you say, we are always evolving if we're reflective.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And seeing how life unfolds in front of us gives us different opportunities to kind of pick and choose different identities and feel what that feels like, you know, and in different communities too, like being in an American community versus international versus school community. So it's very multifaceted.
And to piggyback off of that, Brandy, you know, I'm going to say you get to reinvent yourself, but that sounds like a bit like, you know, you should be who you are. Like, don't try and become a totally different person, but you get a chance to try new things, and no one knows that you've never done that before. You know, you get, I mean, you have to find the courage to reinvent yourself, but you have that opportunity with moving, with becoming a mom. I think through every season of being a mom too, you're constantly reinventing who you are.
You get a much bigger opportunity to do that when you're, I won't even say when you're abroad, but just when you make a big move, right? And it's even bigger when it's international, I would say. One of the things we mentioned in our episode about finding community is also the self community and taking care of yourself, and how important that is, you know, just as important as other people in your life. What does that look like for you when you take care of yourself and build your own community in yourself?
I've really tried to ground myself in what I enjoy doing and trying to find that here. And there is a sense of, you know, I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll put myself out there. And then at a certain point, it's like, I'm going to do what I want to do, or, you know, be around the people that I want to be around. And also as a mom, like, you don't have time to, you know, you really have to be selective about.
If I can, because you and I are friends and we send our messages back and forth, I just want to commend you, because I know in some really tough times of your life, you know that exercise is really important for you. And you, my friend, please share with our listeners what time you wake up to make sure that that is a priority in your life, going to your bar classes.
Yes. Yeah. I've discovered bar and I love it. I'm going to bar 3. So there's a little plug for them. But I wake up at 5 and I go to a 5:30 class in the morning.
But wait, you're going to have to break it down, because I was at the bar last night, but what is bar? Sorry, guys. I did not wake up at 5 to go there.
Yeah. That's good. It's like, I don't know. It's like a combination of, there's a ballet bar. So that's kind of why it's called the bar, but it's like a little bit of Pilates and low impact.
Like,
I don't know how to describe it.
Like a ballerina with your legs like a circle.
Yeah. But I'm not doing like any pirouettes or anything like that. But it's just kind of,
Cool.
But you really make that, like, that is something.
That's a commitment.
Yeah, it's a commitment.
Yeah.
I admire you.
Yes. Yeah. And I'd say exercising is important to both of us. So we both have found our like community a little bit through that too.
Yeah, you've met some friends from your bar class, right?
I have. Yes. Yeah. It took a while, but I did. I made a friend.
Yeah. I love it.
Love that. For sure.
And then I think, you know, no matter where you are, at some point it becomes a small world. And then the connections just start. You know, I've been going to bar, and I've been going at 5:30. And one day I didn't go at 5:30, and someone came up to me and she was like, "Oh, I think, does your son go to this school? I've seen you at drop off before." So, and then all of a sudden I met a group of moms that their children also go to my son's school. So just putting yourself out there and
So when you put yourself out there, and you mentioned the transient nature of this international life, like, how is it that you best stay connected to people from other aspects or past situations and places that you've been in?
Yeah, WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Voice notes. As Brandy knows, we send novels to each other throughout the week.
I love
or
them.
audiobooks. Yes.
Wait, is this the friend when I will send a long message, you say, don't worry, Trish, it's not long. I have other friends
Probably.
who leave longer.
Yes. Because she's like 3 minutes tops.
3 minutes. I'm like, oh,
And
really?
I'm like,
Okay.
oh God, I'm going on 43 minutes with Jennifer.
Yeah.
wow.
But we break it up. We break it up into
okay.
5-minute segments.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Now I know.
funny.
But I mean, thanks to technology, I've really been able to stay in touch. I would say mostly with people post-college. With growing up overseas, people come and go, and everyone went to different colleges and everyone was from different parts of the world. So your paths just don't cross as much. So I don't have as many friends from growing up. It's more going forward.
I often wonder, like, is there an alumni community to your high school? Do you have, she's got her 20-year reunion coming up and I've got my 30-year high school reunion. Do they have those in international community?
They do, yes. So we had our 5-year reunion a while ago in New York City, and they alternate between San Francisco and New York City.
Cool.
Very cool. Like both sides, which is really special.
Yeah. But I think my 10-year, it was COVID, and then it just
Yeah.
So I went to my 5-year, and I have my college reunion coming up this summer, which I'm really excited about.
Very cool.
A lot of reunions.
It's nice to reconnect with people and just see different paths, that everybody's taken. I love that. Mm-hmm.
So as we're wrapping up, we've got just a couple more questions.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we talk about in our episode is specifically being an expat and building a bridge for other people. And although you're back in the States, can you reflect on your time when you were in Prague, when you felt like, I know what it's like to be here and I can help this other person transition into the expat life or just living in Czech Republic, where you built that bridge for them to help them?
Yeah. So in general, I like to be a connector, and I like to know things, not be a know-it-all, but I like to, especially when you're in a foreign country, you want to know how things work, how the pharmacy works, right? And I've always wanted to share that knowledge. And I think I saw that in my mom because we had been in Japan for 8 years, which wasn't typical. Most people left after 2, 3, 4 years. So she was kind of that connector. It was, if you needed anything, she knew which doctors spoke English and took the insurance that most of it, and just that kind of stuff. And so seeing her do it, I did the same in Prague, and we would meet different people that came out from the US, and they would ask questions, and I wanted to help. I wanted to share that knowledge. And I feel like I'm still kind of doing it because recently a friend reached out about where she should have her son's birthday party in Prague. And I was like, I have someone that I can ask, Brandy.
That's right.
And I texted Brandy. So where are the 5-year-olds having birthday parties nowadays?
You know all the places, right?
Yeah.
I love
that. And I think
you
also just learn to be not creative, but resourceful.
Yeah.
Even here, my husband's working at a university. I got in touch with one of the education department professors. And I was like, who are your best students that want to babysit?
Yep.
And then I've been sharing that too.
Nice.
I don't know. So I feel like I'm always kind of looking for how I can.
And that's what we wanted to do here, just how to connect people with stories and all of those, the resources, on our website. It can be lonely out here, but there are other people walking maybe on the parallel street as you. You're both going in the same direction, living very interesting lives that could be really cool if you met at the end of the street. So,
or even just someone that's a little bit further ahead,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
sometimes that's you that's a little further ahead,
sharing that out. So as we bring this all to a close today, is there that one piece of advice you might give to someone who's setting out on this journey abroad, or something that helped you thrive when you were out there abroad?
Yeah, I think just putting yourself out there. I mean, you've already made this huge leap to move and go outside of your comfort zone, and just keep that going. Signing up for trivia night, just trying to talk to people. And I kind of said it earlier. I think it's easier to talk to expats sometimes because you can just say like, so where have you been recently? Where have you traveled to? And that's like a whole conversation, and like you can ask them questions like, so what laundry detergent are you buying? Because I can't, and like you
and
can.
where are you buying it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And there were actually even times that I asked questions that I already knew the answer to just to make a connection. And for the most part, people want to help and they want to, they want to help. So you can make them feel helpful by asking questions. But yeah, I mean, join different events.
Yep. I think also like we want to share our story too. And it's a good full circle moment here because as you were saying, like, many times you go back home and you want to share your story and people are like, okay, yeah, like little pretentious over there. And you just kind of get shunned away in some ways. But when you're in the international realm, people want to share and people are
hear the story.
And that's what I was going to say. You're willing to listen. And that can be really special. So that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah. And because most people are on an adventure, right?
Right.
And they want to hear your story. They want to learn from you, from your cultures, where you went. And
exactly.
Love that.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you for sharing your story. It was great meeting you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Great conversation.
I see the sun is coming up in her part of the world behind her there.
Yes.
So.
And I've got my bar coffee.
Representing. Okay, we're going to say goodbye. And
bye.
We'd like to thank Jennifer once again for sharing her story with us. We think so many educators and families will connect with the honesty and heart she brought to this conversation.
Yeah, for our listeners, we hope Jennifer's journey reminds you that community doesn't always come easily, but that it can be rebuilt, reimagined, and rediscovered no matter where life takes you.
If you're navigating your own transition, whether you're moving abroad or maybe returning home or just trying to find your people in a new place, visit our platform at connectedglobal.org for resources, insights, and encouragement from others who have been there.
And don't forget, on our website, you can also book a consultation with us, connectedglobal.org. And we'd love to chat with you about anything from rebuilding your community abroad to exploring your next international move.
If this episode resonated with you, share it with another educator, parent, or friend who might need a reminder that they're not alone in this journey.
Until next time, may your friendships be genuine,
your transitions be gentle,
and your sense of belonging always feel international.
Hope this is the right intro. Let me just look at it.
You're very entertaining. Oh my goodness.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Nice. Looks great.
There you go. It hurts to smile so long.
We're on episode 2.